I believe Barack Obama got a tape.
Yeah, he playing hide the hot dog.
I know Jennifer Lopez has multiple tapes.
Oh yeah.
Oof.
I know Beyonce got a tape.
Ooh.
I definitely know they probably recycled some old Stevie J and Eve stuff. I know Drake got a tape. I know Rihanna got a tape. I know Chris Brown's on one of them tapes. I know Trey Songz has been like a supporting actor in many freak off film. Definitely Usher. I think what would shock people are the politicians and the royals that were on that tape. And I'm still trying to figure out when Harry and Meghan are going to be honest about their freak off tape. The royal family had many times at Diddy party.
Everybody in Hollywood should be running scared because Diddy's saying he wants to take a stand and testify at his trial. We all know that him testifying so that he can be cross-examined and scrutinized to hell and back is far from the best legal move that the billionaire bad boy could make, but I'm pretty sure that's not why he's making that move. There's only one reason he'd do that. That's right, y'all. Diddy's about to name names and give us all the dirt. And while there's a few names that come to the top of my mind as obvious candidates for him to throw under the bus, Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm thinking some of the names he drops might just surprise us all. Stick around and I'll tell you what this new revelation means for all of us that have been following all this Diddy mess from day one. The whole world knows that Diddy was arrested and that it had to do with the federal investigation against him. What you may not know are the actual charges that were brought against him, which include racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Those are all serious charges. If the feds connect him with a criminal enterprise or identify him as the head of one, he could even catch RICO charges. TMZ has put out a couple of installments of a Diddy documentary called The Downfall of Diddy, with the newest one being called The Downfall of Diddy, The Indictment, which is just a treasure trove of info. And if you're interested in the whole Diddy situation, I suggest you watch it. You can catch it for free on Tubi. Anyway, in the doc, Mark Agnifilo says, I don't know that I could keep him off the stand. I think he's very eager to tell a story. I think he will tell every part of his story, including what you see on the video. So I expect it's going to be explained by the both of us. He has a story and he has a story that I think only he can tell in the way he can tell it in real time. But that isn't the best idea for him in terms of his legal defense strategy. Legal expert Misha Moulton told Page 6 that he shouldn't do it. She says, testifying in one's own trial opens up the defendant to cross-examination from the prosecution, which she says could be mentally grueling, and they could trip him up with inconsistencies in his statements, or it could lead to potentially harmful admissions. If Diddy becomes flustered or frustrated, taking the stand will do more harm for him than good. I honestly hope he does get up on the stand and talk though, and I hope it's soon, cause you know if he's been doing the illicit substances for more than a decade the way that people are saying, then he's definitely ready to sing. I bet that withdrawal is hitting him like a truck. And it's hard to tell what he'd say on the stand, but I know if that happens, I'll be sitting back with my popcorn watching it. Another lawsuit was filed against him on September 27th, being another Jane Doe. She claimed sexual abuse and that Diddy assaulted her, drugged, threatened, and coerced her for 2 whole years. She filed the suit in New York, although she lives in Florida, and she says Diddy made her travel and perform for him on several occasions for the past few years. She says she met him back in 2021 and they started going out. She says that he flew her out in different states to come have sex with him. In the suit, she claims that he would send drivers to her home to pick her up before she agreed to travel, to the point where she did not believe she had a choice. Yeah, I could see how him sending the car and the goons could be pretty intimidating. But it gets worse. She says Diddy knocked her up, but then says that Young Miami called her and harassed her all the time and told her to get an abortion. And she says that the stress of all that tragically cost her to have a miscarriage. In her suit, she says that she was still running with Diddy all the way up into July, and that he's still contacting and harassing her. I'm not sure how that works with him in prison, but he probably has other people doing it for him, right? With this latest Jane Doe, this brings the grand total up to 12 lawsuits against Diddy for abuse and sexual misconduct. It gets worse for Diddy too. On Wednesday, September 23rd, a male sex worker went to the feds in NYC and signed what's called a proffer agreement, which means he can talk to the authorities without fear of being prosecuted himself. And it turns out, he took videos. That's right, one of Diddy's victims caught his deeds on video and gave it over to the feds. According to TMZ, the conversation this man had with the feds involved mostly about how Diddy went about contacting him and asking him to participate in one of his freak-offs with Diddy and a currently unnamed woman. But the man didn't just tell the feds about the groups he took part in. He told them all about the drugs that Diddy was using and handing out too. The freak-off in question allegedly happened in May 2023. The man says he was flown from Atlanta to Miami, where he met up with Diddy and the other woman. And he says he did the nasty with the woman while Diddy stood back and filmed the whole thing. And apparently he kept a copy of that video and gave it over to the feds. Interestingly, you remember Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo? Well, he told TMZ that everyone has the wrong idea about the freak-offs and that they weren't these crazy giant orgies that we're all imagining, but are instead threesomes that take place between consenting adults. And that lines up with what this male prostitute is saying and has video evidence of. This whole trial is honestly like watching a train wreck on both sides. The attorney's office put a rush on arresting Diddy because they decided he was obstructing justice, and he didn't make bail, twice now, because basically the judge said he's a menace to society. Okay, that's not exactly what she said, but pretty much. I don't believe that counsel has the ability to control you given the very significant concerns I have, particularly because of substance abuse and what seems like anger issues. The danger, I think, is quite serious. And she said that the bond agreement that his team was offering up wouldn't assure his return to court or the safety of the community or a lack of witness tampering. And allegedly, some people in Hollywood are running scared because they're either already outed as being at some of these Diddy parties or they think they're about to be. Words going around that Queen Bey Beyonce is on some of those videos that the feds picked up at Diddy's mansion. The internet is also saying that Bey is dropping Jay in light of all this. And there's something to that because Jay got spotted meeting with either an attorney with two specialties or two different types of attorneys in one day. Two for today for Jay-Z. He met with a criminal defense attorney and a divorce attorney. Personally, I think that sounds like he saw two different attorneys. I mean, think about it. These two were tied with Diddy for over 2 decades, and they showed up to his parties and stayed after other people left, allegedly. There's no way they didn't see some stuff and know about it. Allegedly, Jay-Z and Beyonce were brought up in Cassie's lawsuit. It was originally something like 60 pages, but it got trimmed down to 35. People are saying that what got out was at a Diddy party, Jay and Bey saw Diddy hit Cassie across the face. She ran upstairs and locked herself in a bedroom. Diddy security found her and it took her at least half an hour to get herself right. And when she came back out, both Bey and Jessica Alba were in the downstairs foyer waiting for her and sticking around to check on her. Allegedly, you could see that Bey was upset and she supposedly screamed at Diddy and told him that his actions were wrong and extremely offensive. And her going off led to Diddy getting on his knees and apologizing to all 3 women. Supposedly, Bey was mad at Jay too because Jay was off comforting Diddy after he hit Cassie like that instead of reading him the riot act. After all that went down, supposedly Bey, Jessica, Cassie, and around 20 people left the party. Which tracks because why stick around when there's that kind of negativity, right? And the rumor is that Cassie didn't leave with Bey, she left with Jessica. Why? Because if she left with Bey, Diddy would know exactly how to find her. The cops were called that night by a partygoer who reported the incident, and they talked to Cassie the next day too. Diddy was questioned but denied it all, and Cassie wouldn't rat on him either. Another rumor that's going around is that when Jennifer Lopez got with Ben Affleck again,
former record executive Suge Knight suggested that Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's divorce was triggered by Lopez's appearance in tapes the FBI seized during a raid on Sean Diddy Combs. Suge Knight believes the FBI allegedly handed Ben Affleck tapes from the raid that implicate J-Lo in questionable activities. J-Lo and her management team were reportedly on high alert, holding crisis talks to strategize in case she gets entangled in the ongoing criminal investigations surrounding her ex Sean Diddy Combs. Now, I don't think J-Lo will be implicated in any way, to be honest with you. I just feel like she won't, because if she would have been, it would have been back then when it happened to the 1999 shooting where, you know, she was heavily involved, even has a mugshot on, I believe, but she walked off scot-free. Now, in this particular podcast, the way Suge Knight speaks of it is that Ben Affleck was told about this stuff because he is a man that is respected in that world. He has good connections, he has a good team behind him, and so therefore he was given a warning that, yo, your missus, your wife, she was seen on these tapes, etc. From what we found, Homeland Security, FBI, we're just letting you know.
Her ex, Diddy, started showing videos of her in freak-offs that happened during the relationship at his parties. And allegedly, that creeped Ben out. So what do I think of all of that? Well, with the prosecution making a quantum leap and arresting him before they'd fully conducted their investigation, it means that Diddy's gonna get off on a lot of charges. There's going to be a lot that they find out later and can't get him for, and I feel like that's kind of a fail. But I see where if they didn't make the moves they did, that he could have made a run for the border and jumped, or killed off witnesses, bribed them, threatened them, destroyed more evidence, and all that too. And his lawyers, they can't even get their collective shit together enough to make the judge feel like their client wouldn't do drugs or be a danger to the community. And the one guy even said he didn't think he could control Diddy and keep him from testifying. Which, I mean, I guess that's a good thing considering most of us want to see Diddy do time, but in terms of his chances and trial and stuff, that's definitely not a good look. I also don't see any possible way that Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez don't get mentioned in this trial. It'd be bizarre if they didn't. But that's it for this video. What do you guys think? Should Diddy testify at his own trial? Do you think he's gonna take some other celebrities out with him? Which celebrities do you think he's likely to name? Let me know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next video.